Today, we hear real stories of Americans struggling to afford healthcare, drowning in medical debt, and facing impossible choices. Welcome to The Real Economy.
Just another morning having a mental breakdown over the healthcare system in America. I had a doctor appointment in January, and then about a week later, I went to the ER because my doctor literally called me and said, please go to the ER. I pay, I think, $360 a month for insurance through my job, Cigna, and my deductible is $7,000. I couldn't pick the next plan up because obviously the premium is more expensive every month, and I need some money to save for myself to have a life one day and get out of the fucking apartment I live in. But between that doctor appointment and the hospital visit, out of pocket, I owe around $2,400. So both bills are due the first week of April, or I can sign up for their payment plans. And for the doctor appointment, it would be $114 a month, paid off in 3 months. And for the hospital stay, it would be $160 a month, paid off in 12 months. I said, boy, I can't do that. I could send you each $50. And maybe some months I can send more. But medical bills are now going to put me at $260 a month. I'm sorry, $275. That leaves me with nothing to save and having to cut something out of my life. So the person at the billing center recommended I try to apply for financial assistance. And I found that there's this website that you can check called dollar4.org, and it'll tell you if you will likely qualify or not for the assistance. Thing tells me my income is too high. In what world? Almost every single person I associate with makes more money than me. Does this assistance program know how much housing costs? I have a car payment, I have rent, I have insurance, I have health insurance, I need to eat. I don't understand America. I don't understand how any individual person is supposed to live without splitting their housing costs with somebody else. And I clearly am not doing that right now. I just never thought that putting the time in, going to college, working hard, getting a job, staying loyal and committed to a company for over 5 years would leave you in a position where, like this. I'm so angry. Rant over.
American health insurance makes literally 0 sense. I have been blessed to always have health insurance. Until now, I don't have health insurance. The last 2 months, I picked up this prescription. It was $2 last month. I went to go pick it up today. They were like $41. I was like, what? Why is this so much more expensive this month? And they were like, that's just how much your insurance wants. I was like, I don't have insurance. And then they canceled out the insurance, re-rang it $9. Why? What? Insurance is a scam unless you're having to have a surgery or going to the hospital or something serious where you're seriously paying out of pocket. Insurance and all of healthcare in America is a scam. What the fuck? I mean, obviously I barely know what I'm talking about, but this is just my brain has exploded from discovering this. And I went to the doctor's office and I was able to be very straightforward. How much is this going to be how much is this going to cost me out of pocket? How can we bill this appointment so it's less? I was like, insurance is a good fallback, but what the hell? I almost would rather not have insurance because everything is so far has been cheaper. When you calculate how much money I spend every paycheck to my insurance versus how much I could actually spend not having health insurance, what have I been doing? What's the right answer here? Also, I'm so accident prone that I need to have the fallback of the big insurance. So I don't even know why I'm making this video because I'm still gonna have health insurance the quickest chance I get. But I'm I don't know. Interesting.
I just need to complain for 1 second about our godforsaken healthcare system. Okay, so about 3 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago, maybe a little more than 3 weeks ago, I overextended my right ankle, the back, the Achilles tendon area. My amazing kitty tripped me when I was going up the stairs to the basement or from the basement. And hello, there he is. Thank you, that amazing kitty. I overextended my ankle while I was trying to regain my balance. Since then, it has been increasingly painful, but I don't go to the doctor for myself because, for one, I don't have the time with the kids and work and everything else. It's hard for me to take time out of my day to do those things. But for two, even if I wanted to go to the doctor, I can't afford to. So I am making, in my professional career right now, I am making more than I ever have previously in the other jobs, which makes sense because I've been at this place for almost 9 years, and I have a role in management, and my salary it's decent, but I'm still, with having kids and a mortgage and the bills and all of that, I'm still very highly debating getting like a weekend job to help pay my bills. So I'm not rolling in dough by any means. But I do have health insurance through my place of employment. So I pay my insurance every paycheck. I have a pretty high deductible, so there's that. But when I had COVID back in January and I went to urgent care to get swabbed, after insurance, I paid over $500 out of my pocket for that COVID test. And I get it. I work in healthcare, animal healthcare, but healthcare nonetheless. So I get that there's a fee. You go to the clinic and the technician does the swab, and then you have to pay for the doctor's time, and then you have to pay for the lab charges, and the clinic then has to pay the lab for them to run the tests, and they have to recoup those costs. I get how all of that works, but I can't afford, as a 38-year-old woman, I can't afford to go to the doctor to have my ankle looked at because they're going to want to take an x-ray. They're going to want to do all of the things. And I simply just can't afford it. I can't afford to have it looked at. And don't come at me. I know you're going to come in the comments and say the more I walk on it and the more I do all the activities on it, I'm just going to make it worse. I know all of that. And I'm not going to be able to afford to get it fixed at that point either. This is more for me to vent and kind of bitch and moan at the godforsaken state that our shitty country is in when it comes to, their citizens and healthcare and all of the things. It should not cost me $500 out of pocket for a COVID test when I have insurance. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I need it looked at. It hurts. I'm still doing the things. I went to my first workout class yesterday, and I was I kind of took it easy on that side. And so I'm not letting it ruin my life, but it is increasingly painful. And I know that there's something wrong with it. And it just sucks because I can't physically afford to go to the doctor. How are other people making this happen? How do you prioritize your own healthcare? What are you doing? What are you doing to afford to go to the doctor? Because I need those tips and tricks. It's getting bad. It's getting bad. It makes a crunchy noise when it's bad. So help me. What do you do? How are you affording to live right now?
Have you or someone you know avoided medical care because of the cost? Some hospitals offer financial aid programs. You have a legal right to apply, even after treatment.
Our healthcare system is so broken. I'm a type 1 diabetic. Can't help it. Exercise doesn't take it away. I can't take a pill to fix it. I have to take insulin. If you want to be a well-managed diabetic, it's a good idea to get on a sensor because it helps you regulate your blood sugars, and studies have shown that people on a sensor actually have lower A1Cs, which is ultimately healthier for your long-term health. And I just walked out of CVS spending $788.65 just to stay alive. But if I was poor, if I was completely broke, if I was single mother, I could get on the government health care and I could get my stuff for free. But because I'm lower middle class, I get absolutely no breaks and have to pay out of my booty just to be able to live. We're going to need to get a third job just to be able to stay alive. I can't, y'all. I can't.
Now, I knew healthcare in America was a joke, but I truly had no idea what I was really in for when I turned 26. If you're unaware, in America, when you turn 26 years old, you can no longer be on your parents' medical insurance. And because my birthday is next month, I have to now set up my own. And oh my fucking God, I'm going to throw up. Obviously, my first choice was to stay with my provider, right? Because I've had them my whole fucking life. And because I would be signing up for insurance as an individual rather than through an employer, this was the cheapest plan they could offer me. $285 per month with a $6,000 deductible and $60 co-pays every time I go to the doctor. Ooh, let's not forget the $90 if I get sick and need a prescription. So let's do some math. I'm a pretty healthy girl. I only go to the doctor maybe once a year. So $285 a month for 12 months. That's $3,420. Plus the $6,000 deductible, which is $9,420. Plus the $60 for my doctor's visit, plus the $90 in case I need a prescription. That's another $150, bringing our grand total to $9,570. That's $9,570 out of my pocket before insurance even covers anything. And to me, these are exorbitant numbers. But then I post that shit on Twitter and people are like up my ass telling me that that is cheap. So I'm even saying I shouldn't be complaining. Forgive me for believing that any amount of money for care that I need to sustain my life is too damn much. And of course, I'm neurospicy, okay? Once I get into something, it's like a rabbit hole that I cannot stop. So I start doing further research. Is it even really worth it? Like, if something does happen, how much is it going to cost and how much is insurance going to cover? So I'm like, okay, what is the average cost of one night in a hospital? The average cost per day in a hospital in the US is $2,883. But I live in California. So that's looking more like $4,181. So then I tried to research how much of that actually gets covered by insurance, only to find out that insurance companies, people without medical degrees, can decide you don't need the treatment that your doctor is saying you need to live, and then they just won't cover it. They just won't cover it. This is what the grown-ups be doing? This is your fucking life? This is gonna be my life? How is this sustainable? I'm sorry, I am truly baffled. What's most shocking is this is normalized in America. Like, there were people on Twitter trying to convince me that this was normal. This isn't fucking normal, guys. It's not fucking normal.
What's the biggest medical bill you've ever had to pay? Nonprofit hospitals are required to provide charity care. Always ask if you qualify.
The American healthcare system is a joke. It sucks. I'm so behind on medical bills, and I'm tired of having to reach a deductible and an out-of-pocket maximum to just not have to pay as much or not pay at all. Like for prescriptions, you have to meet your deductible or your out-of-pocket maximum. I got a bill the other day for $90 just to go in for a consultation to the ear, nose, and throat doctor, just for the doctor to look in my mouth and say, yeah, let's get those tonsils out. Plus, on top of that, a $45 copay. So there goes like, what, $145 out the door just for being in the office for 5 minutes and opening my mouth. $145 right there. I'm literally in tears because of how much money and debt I'm in. Medical debt, you know? Why do we have to pay so much fucking money to receive vital health care, preventative care, mental health care, prescriptions? Why do we have to pay so much goddamn money just to live a happy, healthy life? Like, people want us to be healthy and take care of ourselves, but yet most people can't even afford to go to the doctor. That's why a lot of people are not healthy, because they can't afford to go to the doctor. That's why a lot of people have mental issues. We can't get the mental health care that we need. Like, it's so frustrating to just have to pay so much money for care that will help us live a happy, healthy life. I know I'm sounding repetitive, but like, I'm just frustrated. Like, I'm in tears. I'm stressed. I'm worried. I'm frustrated. I have all this emotion just because I'm trying to take care of myself and live a happy life, like a happy, healthy life. And as a result of trying to take care of myself, now I'm in a lot of medical debt, like $5,000 medical debt. Like, yeah, there's payment plans, and yeah, I have insurance, but insurance only helps so much until I reach my deductible and out-of-pocket maximum. Like, I'm just frustrated. I'm grateful for our healthcare workers, and I'm grateful for my doctor, and I'm grateful for insurance and payment plans, but why do I have to be in so much debt just to live a healthy life? Like, I'm just frustrated. I just needed to vent. I've been crying about it all morning. I needed to vent. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I don't even know if I'm going to post this, but I just needed to let it out.
Oh, you want a new car? You want a new house? That's great. You know what I want to do? I want to pay off my NICU son's medical debt. Literally just got a letter today about how much we owe. and it's just astronomical. It's crazy. The country that we live in right now, you can go to work every single day. You can pay for health insurance an astronomical fee. You can pay your deductible, and yet you're still going to get billed later another astronomical portion. It is absolutely absurd. But here's the great thing about Mississippi. A lot of people don't know this, but in 2013, they actually passed a law in Mississippi to stop this. Your health insurance has an in-network and out-of-network fee. But let's say your health insurance and this provider are in-network. They set a set price for services. Okay, you go in, you pay your deductible, your $20 or $30, whatever. Your provider will then bill your health insurance company, and then they will pay what they agreed upon, right? However, there's still a balance there that is unpaid because of the agreed upon price. So what'll end up happening is that greedy provider will then bill you for it. And that's called balance billing, okay? But it's also called surprise billing. You know, where you get that surprise bill in the mail where you thought you were good and you had paid everything. Anyway, it's illegal in Mississippi. But a lot of people don't know that. And a lot of health companies like hospitals and providers get away with it because people don't know about it. There's also a statute of limitations in Mississippi of 3 years to go after medical debt. So if they don't sue you within 3 years, technically they're not supposed to be allowed to. But some places will still do that and get away with it. So.
This is what happens if you don't pay your medical bills in America. You basically have 30 days to pay your medical bills, and they will call you and basically harass you every single day to pay your bill. After it's been 60 to 90 days, they will sell your medical bill to a collections agency where your medical bill will start gaining interest. And from there, they will also start harassing and calling you and basically telling you to pay your bill. Depending on how impatient your collections agency is, they can take you to court and sue you, and they can go after your wages, your paychecks, your car, your home, until that medical bill is paid off. It also really depends on the amount too. Like, I don't think they're gonna take someone to court for a $100 bill. I know that your medical bills can't affect your credit score, but once they do sell it to a collections agency, that's when it can. However, a lot of people actually don't know this, but you can actually negotiate your bill and by a lot, like half the cost, because at the end of the day, all they want is your money. You can also do this with your collections agency too. You can also do monthly payments too, and as long as you're making monthly payments on your bill, they can't come after you. So you can literally pay $1 a month and they can't come after you. Usually if you don't have insurance, there's usually charities that will help cover your costs. Even the hospital themselves will give you a discount if you don't have insurance. I know there's a lot of people that will say that their medical bill disappeared without paying for it. That's because either the collection agency gave up the cost of it, like you probably just owed like $100 and they're like, it's whatever. Or because they're gonna come after you years later once your bill has gained a lot of interest. So yeah, that's basically what happens if you don't pay your medical bills in America, unfortunately.
If you could fix one thing about healthcare today, what would it be?
So I'm a little fired up this morning. This is going to be a little bit of a rambling rant. I saw a TikTok video yesterday by a woman talking about her own frustration with medical debt. Her husband got a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer, wasn't able to get any Social Security benefits, and they burned through their savings and went into debt for his care. And she is now saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical debt, and she's lost her husband. Now, this is something that I think everybody should look up. Just get on the Google machine and Google medical debt. And what you will find is that this is a unique problem to America. In fact, the number one reason for Americans to file bankruptcy is medical debt. I'm going to say that again. The number one reason for Americans to file bankruptcy is medical debt. And out of 33 industrialized nations, 32 of them have universal health care. And in all 32 of those industrialized nations, medical debt is not a thing. No one loses their savings or their retirement or their homes to medical bills. Medical bills actually affect people who work in healthcare. So I've gotten messages from nurses and medical assistants and physical therapists and doctors who have experienced medical complications and medical bills and problems paying their medical bills. Even I, as a physician, have had a problem with this. I used to work for a federally qualified health center. I did not make very much money. In fact, I did not make enough money to cover the interest on my student loans, which is part of the reason why I left. But a significant factor in that was while I was working for that clinic, I got acute appendicitis and ended up in the emergency department. I knew all the nurses that took care of me in the ER and in the OR. I knew the surgeon personally who took out my appendix. And we got a medical bill for $4,000, which we could not afford to pay in one lump sum. So what did we do? We arranged a payment plan. And immediately after making the first payment on that bill on time, I was sent to collections. A doctor who worked in a city and knew the entire staff of the hospital was sent to collections for a medical bill that he had actually paid on time according to a payment plan prearranged. That is our healthcare system. It is completely broken. Universal healthcare should be a thing in this country. And if you aren't voting for it, you are voting against your own self-interest, and it will eventually get you too.
The American medical field insurance is broken, very broken. Tell me why it is cheaper to die than it is for a week stay at a hospital or even 2 or 3 ER visits. Like, that's insane. That is insane. I don't care about the price because I want my husband to be alive, and I'd much rather pay an arm and a leg to have him here than to bury him. But this is insane. This is why people don't go to hospitals. This is why people don't get the help that they need, because they just go and they're just like, if I go to the hospital, then I'm going to be in medical debt for the rest of my life. Like, that's insane. That's insane. Like, one hospital trip, one major hospital trip, and any plans that you had for the next 10 years are gone. Like, we were going to try to get a house, you know. We were going to move out of our apartment. We were going to rent a house and then eventually buy a house. That is going to have to be a discussion that gets put on the back burner now. Because thank God my husband's life is going to be saved. But it's just insane. I got 3 bills in the mail today. 3 bills. I'm sorry. To people that don't have insurance, I am sorry. To people that do have insurance, I am sorry. Why are we paying so much for so little? Why are the prices so outrageous? Why is this such a for-profit thing? It's just broken. It's broken, and it needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed yesterday, because this is just insanity. It's insanity.
Okay, y'all. So since I have the knowledge, I'm going to spread it, because I had seen this man. He basically said like he put his medical expenses over his rent, which is insane. But I am here to tell you, when I used to work in healthcare insurance, that there is a thing called charity care. Please look into it. 9 times out of 10, if you can't afford your medical expenses, you can apply for charity care, and you sometimes will get approved as like 50 to 100%. So 50%, you would have to pay 50% of the medical expenses, and then if you get approved for 100%, they'll cover 100% of the medical expenses. Okay, there's also something called presumptive charity. They're not going to tell you about it, but presumptive charity basically covers and writes off all of your medical expenses. They won't tell you this over the phone, but yeah, check out charity care.
Would y'all say yes or no to medical treatment for something like cancer if you knew not only would it probably not work, but it would bankrupt you and your family would still suffer the burden of that debt for decades to come? Would you say yes or no to that kind of treatment? Because a lot of you call my friend weak because he is saying no treatment. I'm not sure that I can make it. So all that money that I saved over decades of hard work, I want my family to be able to have that. Whereas if he takes the treatment, not only might it not work, but it's going to absolutely bankrupt him. The number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States, medical bills. Okay, paying that insurance company back is the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States. And people don't understand that. It would wipe them out. And he worked his whole life to be able to take care of his family. Now he realizes there's a really good chance he's not going to be here anymore. So he wants them to have as much of that money he had saved up as possible. And if he takes the treatment, which may not work anyway, he would be wiped out. And the very fact that you come in here and call him weak and say he's given up on life is ridiculous. What he is doing, in my personal opinion, is being willing to put somebody else before himself. He made that money for them to take care of them. He's going to take care of them with his last act. I'm sorry, this is wiping me out right here. But you get my point. Would you sacrifice a tiny amount of hope so that your family, you knew that they would be better taken care of going forward? Sorry, y'all, I just got wiped out by that. I did lose my dad to cancer and my stepdad to ALS, wiped out all their retirements and everything. So I'm a little sensitive on the topic.
Thanks for watching The Real Economy. If you're facing medical debt, check the free resources linked below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real stories.